Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Harris-Smith, host of The Three, and we're here on my set today. It's a new program. I hope that you'll tune in. You can check your local listings on TLN, the Total Living Network. I'm really happy today to welcome Kevin and Sam Sorbo, and you are here to tell us about a nationwide Facebook Live event that's about to occur.
Well, we're live right now. This is Facebook Live, and it's Keep Faith in America, and we're just standing up for Judeo-Christian principles. I think once we lose those principles, we won't have much of a society left.
Right.
So that's what Kevin and I, we're on a mission. That's why we did our film, Let There Be Light. Hold on, I have the DVD right here. There it is. And this film deals with, there you go, deals with the world's greatest atheist has a crisis of faith.
Yep.
And has to figure out a new way of going about living, because as we know, atheism is a faith, right? In fact, Wikipedia lists atheism and agnosticism as the world's third largest faith. And in fact, it has a new name now. I don't know if you've heard. It's called irreligion.
Yes, I have heard irreligion. I heard that the other day.
And so it occurred to me one day, what would it look like if an atheist had his faith challenged, like my faith is challenged every time I turn on the TV or go out of the house, basically, right?
It's true.
And so we produced this movie together. Kevin directed it and stars in it, and he did a remarkable job depicting a man who really struggles with his faith and with his atheism, and eventually figures out what life is really about. And so we're very excited about that.
Why do you think it's important to keep faith in America?
Well, you know, I think it's the battle we got going on within, you know, every movie that comes out of Hollywood, every television show, every magazine that's out there. I mean, we're now a secular nation, and this country wasn't founded on that. We were founded on Judeo-Christian values. So you see what's happening out there in television. I see there's so many things I don't want my kids to be watching. I'm reliving my childhood for them, because I get Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched,
yes, exactly.
You know, Mayberry, and those are shows, and they love those shows. So it's important, because there's messages out there that we can get out there, and with movies that we're putting out there, I know it's opening doors. Because you look at Hollywood, you look at New York City, they call all the states in between flyover states. They don't pay attention to the millions and millions and millions of people out there that want things that their kids can watch, that their families can watch. I get stopped every day at airports now. I travel a lot. Used to be because of Hercules, used to be Andromeda. It is now, they say, please make more movies like Let There Be Light, God's Not Dead, What If. People stop me for that all the time now. And then we say, look, we're on your side, we love what you're doing. And we had it today, traveling today. It's amazing.
But we're really approaching a crossroads, I think, in this country now. And when we lose the golden rule, when we lose our biblical principles, we lose our culture. Because there's no reason to stop at the stop sign if you don't value life. If you don't value truth.
That's true.
We've stopped teaching the truth to our children in schools. We didn't take religion out of schools. We replaced Christianity with irreligion, secular humanism. When you teach children that survival of the fittest is the law of the land, you will get children who believe that bullying is okay. And hypocritically, of course, they're teaching them, oh, but don't bully, but survival of the fittest. So they're going to be weighing this and trying to figure out how to make sense of that. And that's why I homeschool. We homeschool our kids.
How long have you been homeschooling?
8 years.
Yeah.
It's been 8 years.
Yeah, we've got a 16-year-old who's maybe finishing up high school next year. I don't want him to, but he's kind of like, I'm done.
Okay, so he's ahead.
He's ahead.
I see.
He kind of accelerated, unbeknownst to me. I don't know how that happened. He's just clever, so.
It's your fault.
Well, I loved my public school experience growing up, but it's just not the same world.
Not the same.
So
I love mine too. I didn't encounter the things that they're today. And when I was in Minnesota, I didn't have any of those problems that I see with kids going on in schools today. I just don't see that.
That's because faith was still in the family.
Faith was still, yes.
And so you got faith.
We went to church
from
every
your family,
Sunday.
from your friend's family, from your friend's friend's family. But we're losing that.
And from the media. You got it from the media. This was what you saw. You saw whole families on TV and things were flourishing. And then as soon as that influence stopped and went away, then our American family really began to disintegrate. So I just want to ask you that. Explain how you think that movies can really impact, our country.
Well, Jesus spoke in parables for a reason, because storytelling impacts
Storytelling's
people.
important,
And that's why we're storytellers. I did a radio show for several years on politics and religion. Religion is who we are and where we're going. Politics is how we get there. You show me a politician who doesn't make decisions based on his worldview, his religion, his worldview, and I'll show you a hypocrite. Is that what we want? No. So then we have to pick a worldview. You got to pick. You can't just sort of willy-nilly it and go in between. And so I think that it's very important for us to send messages out that there is a truth.
Right.
There is one truth.
So then you live in Hollywood or just outside. Okay, so what is that like? And we've talked about the industry, but what is that like just as a family, as a Christian family there? And are you able to, because your children are homeschooled, I'm sure it's easier, but do you find that you are able to have influence, just even in your neighborhood or at your church or wherever? How do you think, in keeping faith in America, how do you think that a family, any family, can influence just the people around them? Because see, whether you have platform or not, everybody has some measure of influence.
Absolutely.
So just as a Christian family, what are the things that you do together and for your
people to
neighborhood?
church.
Invite people to church.
I encourage people to invite people to church. People are seeking, they're hurting and they're seeking. Right after 9/11, the churches were filled.
Yes,
and
they
the
were.
synagogues were filled in this nation. And we've sort of been led astray. We're very distracted by all the pretty, shiny things that the media sends our way. But there is a way through that.
But we talked about that when we talked about when the movie came out. We're saying, people are uncomfortable saying, hey, do you want to come to my church? Because people get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not uncomfortable to ask them to come to a
It's
movie.
not. That's
Hey, do you
right.
want to come
That's
see a
right.
movie with me?
And we did that night. We had women come who they hadn't even come to church before, but they wanted to go see the movie.
Right.
Well, the movie.
And it starts
okay, let's talk about the movie because that's exciting. We've got the Blu-ray DVD release on February 27th. What's your favorite part of the movie? Whoa, that's a loaded question.
It is. It's a loaded question. My favorite scene is a scene where he finally figures out that he's broken, and I have the opportunity to minister to him, even though I'm not sure where that's going to go.
Yeah.
And
you could see it on your face.
It's the story of forgiveness, and we struggle with forgiveness in this country. I think just as human beings we struggle with forgiveness, but forgiveness is probably the most important lesson that we can all learn, right? Because anger is destructive, but forgiveness is healing.
There's a scene in the movie I visit with her pastor from a church, Pastor Vinny.
Right.
Who is a real character. That's Michael Francisi is a real guy.
He was great.
And it's in the trailer actually, and he has a line in there to me, which I just love this line, and it's in the trailer, so I can say it here. But he looks at me and goes, "So Jesus gets whacked, right?"
Right.
And I say, "Well, I've never heard it put that way before, but I guess so." But I love that scene working with Michael on that because it was a wonderful scene, and it was a very hot. I remember a hot August day there in Birmingham.
He's out there painting a
And
fence.
but that character is him. He's a guy that was part of the mob in New York. He got put in solitary confinement because his father put a hit on him in prison. And the prison guard came and gave him a Bible. And he read it 12 times during his 2 years in solitary confinement. And he became a Christian.
Influence.
And now he's a pastor. Now he travels the country speaking.
So
Now
just
he's in a
open the
movie.
door for people. Recommend the movie. Where is it? Here it is. Recommend the movie to a friend, or invite them to go see it at your house. If you get the
Yes.
DVD, you can invite people
Yes.
over, and
Better than a Tupperware party, I promise.
it opens the door.
So tell me, how many theaters? It started out in a certain amount of theaters, then I knew it like mushroomed and doubled and doubled. What was the original amount of theaters that the movie was in?
It was like 356, and then. But what was amazing is we went up against Thor. And
You were at the same time as
we
Thor.
were number 2.
We finished number 2 the first 2 weeks per screen average, which is crazy when you go up against a movie that's got $400 million behind it, and we had 2.5, which is like a catering budget for the movie of
But
Thor.
here's what's amazing. People don't realize this, but really the success of the movie depends on how much money you spend advertising the movie, because we're all kind of slaves to advertising. And we go where we're told to go. And you know why we go where we're told to go? Because we've been public schooled.
Yeah, well, yes,
It's true.
exactly.
And we've been trained to do what we're told to do and not to do something that we're not told to do, which is why parents struggle so much to homeschool their kids, because they go, I don't know how to do it. I was never taught to do that.
I think every parent homeschools. Some do part-time, some full-time.
Oh, if you're doing homework with your child at home,
you're already
You're
doing it.
homeschooling.
Exactly.
You're just doing it at the end of the day when everybody's tired and cranky and hungry.
All right, guys.
So
well,
keep
give
faith
me
in America.
Give it to us again. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to just, as soon as this is a Facebook Live, but I want you, as soon as this is done, it's going to be up and you can share it. Share the video and really get this like a campaign going. We want you to keep faith in America. We want you to keep faith in the family. We want you to really foster that and find a way that you can do that you yourself can be a person of influence, because America is you. Amen?
Amen.
It is. It's all of us.
And you know what? We are the greatest country.
Yeah.
We save people from slavery, and we ask for nothing in return, and we've proven it time and time again. And this nation is precious, and we need to keep faith in it.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. Thank you all.
Amen.
Thank you for who you are and what you've done, and for just being with us here today.
And thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you,
you.
everybody.